What's good? It's your boy Fanon. All right, man. I'm going to talk about Vasil Lomachenko, Mikey Garcia, Errol Spence, Shawn Porter, and Terrence Crawford. Going to be a lot of fighters I'm going to mix up in this video, but the point is that I think that the most important thing in boxing is unification of a division. Have an undisputed champion in a division so that you have a champion. And Vasil Lomachenko, shout out to my man Trap House Boxing who let me know through his video. Check out his channel and subscribe about an interview that came out with Vasil Lomachenko on IFL TV yesterday. And so that's what I'm going to talk about. Vasil Lomachenko and Alexander Usyk might actually make American boxing look real bad. Because I think that first of all, Alexander Usyk is already unified, is the undisputed champion in the division, the cruiserweight division. And Vasil Lomachenko is 2 fights away from doing it at lightweight. And I think that the only thing that would prevent him from taking a shot at that is whether or not the American champion wants to try to make that fight happen, or whether he's going to, as my man Trap House Boxing said, play hopscotch through the weight divisions. Now, before I get into that, and also there is, the Errol Spence Jr. and Terrence Crawford thing and Shawn Porter. A lot of people are pushing Errol Spence to talk about fighting Terrence Crawford. But in my opinion, even though the WBC, according to DAZN, says that the winner of, what is that fight? Jesse Vargas versus whoever will be the mandatory for Shawn Porter. We've seen the WBC say stuff like that and the fight never happened. So, I'll take DAZN, what DAZN says with a grain of salt, but still, still act like, man, Shawn Porter, the easiest fight, the quickest fight that could possibly happen for unification in the welterweight division is Shawn Porter and Errol Spence. Because even if Shawn Porter had a mandatory, he could apply to the WBC to unify, because the phrase unification trumps a mandatory. So Errol Spence's fight is as good and as valid as the mandatory fight, and that should hopefully be made. And if it can't be made, at least boxing fans put the pressure on them to make that happen. So let me before I go into all of that, thank you to everybody who subscribes to the channel. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Thank you to everybody that supports the channel by listening to the commercials we put up on the videos, Venmo, Patreon, and the super chats and the live stream. Also, 78 Source TV will be having his live stream again, start up, I do believe, on October 1st, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. And we're going to be trying to do a super chat challenge on there, man. Just match me buck for buck on the super chats on that. And we'll see what we can raise to bring, show 78 Source TV the respect for what he does for for boxing conversations that take place in YouTube. So, Vasil Lomachenko went to the press conference for Alexander Usyk against Tony Bellew. And he was asked by Kugan Cassius of IFL TV, much respect to Kugan Cassius and IFL TV. He was asked about who he wanted to fight, whether he wanted to face Luke Campbell and he said, Luke Campbell doesn't have a belt, so I'm not really interested in that. Down the road, if he has a belt, if he has a championship, yeah, then I would do that, because he wants to fight people with the belts. That's what he's interested in. And he said the fight he's most interested in is Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia is a WBC and the IBF title fight, is a IBF and the WBC champion after he unified against Robert Easter. And Vasil Lomachenko will be fighting Jose Pedraza in December. That fight for Mikey Garcia and Vasil Lomachenko would, if Vasil Lomachenko beats Jose Pedraza, which I assume that he will, I believe that he will, he'll be a heavy favorite to do so, and more than likely he will do. That would be for the unification of the lightweight division, and I think that would mean more for the career of Mikey Garcia or Vasil Lomachenko than anything else. And Mikey Garcia obviously is in communication with and negotiations to fight Errol Spence Jr. Don't know if that's going to be in December. Don't know when that's going to be or if that's going to happen. Errol Spence Jr., from my interpretation of what he said, Shawn Porter is his first choice and Mikey Garcia is his second choice. To me, it seems as if Mikey Garcia, Errol Spence Jr. is his first choice and Vasily Lomachenko is his second choice. That's where I'm saying that, there's a lot of people talking about Eastern Europeans taking over boxing. And I've always rejected that because, it's just never been the case. There's been a few champions, here and there, not here and there. There's been a good number of champions, but there's a good number of belts, right? So, Dimitri Bivol being a 175-pound champion, to me, is not that impressive because there's at least four 175-pound champions. I don't know if anybody's unified for 175. If somebody's unified, excuse me, but nobody is the undisputed champion. But when Alexander Usyk unified at cruiserweight, he became the only champion. And if the Ukraine has two undisputed champions in a weight class, or because I don't think actually, let me correct that, because Alexander Usyk, I don't believe is going to stay there. So those belts are going to go away. But if Vasily Lomachenko is able to unify at 135 pounds, and Usyk has unified, then people that are talking about, Ukrainian boxing or Eastern European boxing really becoming to be dominant. I still won't say that it's dominant, but I will say that they've achieved more than every other boxer in boxing that's active, other than Terrence Crawford, who unified at 140 pounds. And if Mikey Garcia if he goes up to 147 pounds, more than likely he's going to lose to Errol Spence Jr. And I think that that's a money grab, right? But Mikey Garcia might believe he has a chance to win. I mean, I think that it's going to be very, very hard on him to get through that fight, and he might come out of that fight damaged goods. But then he moves back down to 135, and then fights Lomachenko win. I would prefer that he does it now, because if Mikey Garcia vacates that belt, because I do believe as the IBF champion, he has a purse bid that was held for Richard Comey. It's ordered to take place because Mikey Garcia and Richard Comey couldn't come to an agreement on a contract. More than likely, the reason that they can't come to an agreement on a contract for the fight that was ordered by the IBF is that Mikey Garcia doesn't intend to have the fight. So if it goes to purse bid and Mikey Garcia refuses to do it, then more than likely Mikey Garcia is going to get stripped of the IBF. And if Mikey Garcia winds up getting stripped by the IBF, what good did it do for him to fight Robert Easter in the first place? It just adds more confusion to the 135-pound title, because now somebody has to fight Richard Comey for the vacant belt. So, just all in all, man, I'm just not a fan of the way that this situation is going down. And in this situation, Mikey Garcia Vasily Lomachenko is the one that is really looking like he wants to get the business done. Up at 147 pounds, I'm still maintaining that the only champion the only title holder at 147 pounds that's even trying to unify at all is Errol Spence Jr. He's the only one that I can see right now making a concerted effort to unify a belt at all at 147 pounds. Terrence Crawford is not making an effort to unify at 147 pounds. He's fighting Jose Pedraza, and he's going to go, and all the other champions are with the PBC. He could fight Shawn. He can't. When's he going to unify with the WBA and Keith Thurman? He's not fighting. Shawn Porter ain't going to be any more. He's not called out Shawn Porter. He's not called out Keith Thurman. He's not called out Errol Spence. So I know that Bomac and those guys say that they will fight anybody, but the question is, is that fight going to happen? It just doesn't seem like Terrence Crawford's pushing for it. It sounds like Keith Thurman's not pushing for unification because he's still talking about, even coming back off this 2-year layoff. Shawn Porter is looking like he definitely wants to get out of a fight with Errol Spence Jr. From what I can see, I hope that it's because he's trying to position himself to get more money. But, it just doesn't. But Errol Spence Jr. fighting Mikey Garcia does nothing to clear up that picture. So, Vasyl Lomachenko, to me, is looking, man, I respect this dude more. I'm still not big on the fans talking about he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. I think he's a very, very good fighter, but he's a beatable fighter. He's somebody and obviously he's a beatable fighter because he's been beaten. But his desire to be the unified champion, at least talking about it, right? Man, I find impressive, and I find it encouraging. And I really do agree with Trap House Boxing that, people need to push for these unifications to happen. Mikey Garcia needs to fight Vasyl Lomachenko. He needs to fight Richard Comey, and then he should fight Vasyl Lomachenko and unify at 104. And if he can, unify at 135, or not be able to, or let Vasyl Lomachenko unify at 135 and the off chance that Jose Pedraza wins the belt, right? But I mean retains his title. But I don't think that's going to happen, right? And then I don't think that Errol Spence Jr. should be fighting Mikey Garcia. Errol and Shawn Porter should damn sure not be winning of some crap, the winner of some crap fight between Jesse Vargas and whoever. It's just, man, look, that's what I'm pushing for, and it is what it is. But I just wanted to say that, man, in response to Trap House Boxing's video. I definitely agree with him 100%. And with that, thank you for everybody for subscribing to the channel, and I'm out. Peace.